All right, another crazy day on the market, but actually one that made a little bit more sense. Market was down today, but some things you would expect to act well were, including gold. And these are the ones I'm going to focus on. But let's talk about, kind of the dynamics of the market right now. I'm kind of jokingly calling them normal days and do the opposite days. So normal days, I'm calling, are usually down days now in this environment, this Corona-19 environment. It's obviously an economic disaster. You would expect the market to go down, but then you got the Fed propping up companies, bailouts, and all this other stuff. But in general, really, really poor economy, potential depression, recession is for sure. That's not a great environment for stocks. You expect the market to be kind of down most days, right? And stocks you would expect to do okay are ones that are part of the solution, like medical equipment, grocery stores, staples, and gold. Okay, so gold, really interesting in my opinion. I've not always been a gold bug. I still don't think I'm a gold bug per se, but I do think gold in your portfolio makes a heck of a lot of sense. And you can see where it's really paid off in the last month or so, or even less. B2 Gold, one of our favorites, we've liked it for a couple of years now at least, was up 47% in April. It's only April 13th, and I don't know how many trading days there were. There was a holiday in there, but probably less than 10 trading days. It's up 47%. Torex Gold is doing well, Barrick Gold as well. Those are the three I'm going to highlight. There's others. Kirkland Lake, I think, is still good. Newmont's quite good, but let's just focus on these three tonight. And we're just doing this on Easter Monday, April 13th, just after the close. So today we got a normal, as I was saying, a normal day as you would expect in this environment. So most stocks are down, with some names acting well, including gold. Another one that was good today was Amazon, which is why you see the NASDAQ was up, because Amazon actually did quite well, up 6% or something, 5 or 6. I think that makes sense. Look, Amazon actually hired people during this coronavirus issue to help with, they own Whole Foods, so that was obviously hiring there, and hiring in their warehouse because people are buying more stuff online. That totally makes sense, right? Like it's a logical day today. Gilead was another one. They had some test results. They weren't really test results. They were in the field. I don't want to say they were scientific, but they had some positive results from patients that were really, really suffering and on ventilators. Gave them their I can't say this. I even practice how to say this. Resdemerserv, something like that. I'm sorry. I know I butchered that name of the drug, but it's a tough one to say. And there were some positive results, but it was 53 patients. Let's not get too carried away, but interesting. And the stock was up. It makes sense, right? Whereas the last report we did was Thursday, was the last trading day, because Good Friday was not a trading day. It was the opposite. McDonald's had reported same-store sales down 22%. The stock was up. Costco, on the other hand, was showing like 10% same-store sales growth, and stock was down. We're going to get days like that in this environment. We just are. There's going to be bizarro things happening. Companies are going to come out with earnings that are a complete disaster, and the stock will go up. There's almost some companies, it almost doesn't matter how bad the numbers are, as long as they're kind of still in business, they're going to do okay on those earnings reports. And whereas a company like Costco, no matter how good the numbers are, because everyone knows they're going to be good, it's almost impossible for that stock to move up at this point, because it's kind of all baked in theoretically anyways. But I still think, personally, I'm still in the camp of things are still pretty bad. Let's stick with some simple stuff. Let's stick with the Costco's. Let's stick with gold. Let's stick with staples, Amazon's, things like that. I do think you can buy some maybe really, really high quality names that maybe you might not think would do well, but like tech names. Some of the semis are actually looking pretty good here. Microsoft, I love Microsoft. I think you can just buy that. but let's keep it simple. Let's not go too crazy trying to, pick bottoms on like lousy companies or companies that clearly are going to have a long road to recovery. Not yet, in my opinion. So anyways, that brings me to gold. Talk about gold again. So listen, with the U.S. flooding the market with money, that usually sends the U.S. dollar down a little bit, and that's why gold has been going up. I mean, gold was actually going up beforehand anyways. And now with the U.S. with the strongest stimulus package out there, it's not necessarily good for the dollar. And I don't pretend to be an expert in either macroeconomics or even the price of gold or the U.S. dollar, but I know enough, and I'm well read on these things, that the U.S. dollar could face some pressure, and regardless, even if it doesn't, gold is still like a fiat currency, and people are going to want to go to gold. It's something you can touch and feel. All right, let's jump into these three names. Which one should I go with first? I'm going to say B2Gold for last because I think it's my favorite. Let's go right to Barrick. Barrick's kind of a go-to name for most funds and most people if you're looking for gold. Hold on one second here. I got so many things going on here, it slows my computer down. What are you going to do? What you going to do? All right, there it goes. Came alive. Now. All right, we're in business. Okay, so Barrick, you see the history of Barrick. This is the largest gold company in the world, $43 billion market cap. You see the history here of, it really is cyclical. You see when the stock spikes, the return on capital spikes. Like look at this, return on capital was 11%, which for a gold company is actually pretty high. And they were putting capital to work at the same time. The stock was at its all-time high, and it did not last. I mean, gold really did come down, and that was not too long after the financial crisis. It's just been meandering, but recently it's been strong. So I do think we're in a at least a secular upswing in gold. No question, the price of gold was, $1,000 not that long ago. It didn't seem like that long ago. And now it's $1,700. So these gold companies are doing well, no question. Some questions about shut-ins, I guess we could call them. They're not typical shut-ins, but because of the coronavirus, they have to stop production in some areas, but not everywhere. I've looked, and some are doing it with less people, so obviously production will be lower, but the gold's still there, and it's still worth $1,700 an ounce. So whenever it comes out and they can capitalize it, monetize it, that'll be great. All right, so Barrick. Back to Barrick. So we are at a low return here, but you do see returns just starting to edge up. You see they're putting more capital to work. Valuation's very reasonable still, even though it's been pretty good for the last year or so. I still think this is the go-to one. I think funds are going to go into it. I just think it makes a lot of sense anyways. All right, Barrick. Next one, let's go to Torex. Torex is a bit of an interesting story. Great numbers. I mean, look at these. For a gold company, you see they're building the company. That's typical. A lot of gold companies have no return on capital as they build. That makes sense. It takes 7 years, evidently, on a typical deposit to actually get gold out of the ground. So you have to invest for 7 years. And that's why there's often a lag in the returns. But we are showing 15% return on invested capital. Now, interestingly, Torex has not done that great recently. They did have a shutdown for coronavirus. Now they are in mostly Mexico, so and they're not a big. They don't have multiple mines. They may have a couple, but they're all in Mexico, and it's that one area they had to shut down. So that probably is the reason that the stock has hurt a little bit. But based on value, my goodness, like I said, the gold is still there. It's just whether or not they'll be able to get it out soon. Look, our valuation says $27. It's trading at 10.90. By the way, that's US dollars. So if you get a little bit confused with our numbers, we will use US dollars if it reports in US dollars. We'll use Canadian if they report in Canadian. All right, so in this case, it's US dollars. It's only trading at 10.90. It's worth about $27 if they can kind of not even maintain this 15% return, but go down a little bit. I think that's pretty conservative. It's trading at 3 times EV/EBITDA, 3.4. That's minuscule. I do think there was, the stock hasn't done as well as some other golds because of the shutdown, but in the last week it's up 18%. Still down, 29% in the last 3 months. So, still think you got, an opportunity there. This one's on the higher risk scale because it's smaller and the shutdown, and there are other factors, but pretty interesting. Okay, and then last but not least is B2 Gold, and again, I think we're in U.S. dollars here. Yes, in fact, this is U.S. dollars, and you see a pretty good profile here. Again, the stock spikes when return on invested capital spikes. Stocks go down when return on capital goes down. Nicely correlated. That's what we want to see. That gives us confidence that what we're doing is right. This has been the star, I think, of, well, maybe not of all of them. There's been some other good ones, but this one is one of our favorites. As you can see, good return on capital, improving. Just had a production report a few days ago, said it was outstanding. No shut-ins to my knowledge at this point. That doesn't mean maybe there are in some of the areas, but I didn't see it when I went on their website. And they are in different areas: Colombia, Philippines, Finland, Chile. So they're, it's a decent size. Good balance sheet here too. Really, I just think this is my favorite one of the 3. But if you're just looking for block and tackle, you go Barrick. If you're looking for kind of my favorite, I guess, is the B2 Gold. And then if you're looking for one with an extra torque but more risk, so might not be, is the Torex. So there's my little pitch on gold. Hope I didn't leave anything out. I do think in this terrible environment, these are pretty good. Oh, I have one more point on B2 Gold before I go here. I want to flip over to the stock chart because it is pretty fascinating. Let's get to the stock chart. Here we go. Okay, I hope you can see that. This is year to date? No, 1 year. 1 year stock price. So you see the stock was doing well before. This was in and around, I guess that would be, yeah, that makes sense. February 24th was the peak of the stock, and then the coronavirus stuff, and it went, terribly down, like a lot of stocks. And I was a little surprised, frankly, because gold usually holds in there and these kind of things, but even gold was getting thrown out. And then you see it's roared back almost to the pre-coronavirus levels, but not quite. So even though it's been up substantially, it's actually up 47% in April alone. But it's only coming back to its previous high, and gold makes so much sense here that I think it's got a long runway. I liked it at $4.50, before the coronavirus thing. I think gold has only gotten stronger since then. So, I am pretty much in the camp of sticking with B2 Gold and the other golds I mentioned. I think I'm going on too long. This is too long a video. Anyhow, there you go. Thanks for watching our investment video. If you want to improve your portfolio returns, simply subscribe. Or if you're an investment advisor or a retail investor and you want help with your portfolio more directly, we can help you with a managed account and manage each and every trade for you.